Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Spayhar Initiative. Rob Spayhar here with you, and I am not alone. As usual, whenever I'm doing one of these videos, I have somebody with me, and this is no different. We have a special family with me today. You know, all my episodes have entailed about adults using Technotutor and the benefits and how they've changed their lives, where they've come from, and where they are today. And today I wanted to focus on today's youth. So with me, first up, I have Melissa. Melissa, thank you for joining me. We have Taylor. Taylor, thanks for joining me.
Hi.
And we have somebody who's munching on ice cream in front of me is Aria. How are you all doing? Thanks for joining me today.
I'm pretty good. How are you doing, Ari?
Thumbs up. That's good. So, Melissa, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, where do you live, and a little bit about these two lovely ladies beside you.
So, we live in Florida. I live on the Treasure Coast, and this is my daughter Aria. She's 4, and this is my stepdaughter Taylor. She's 15, turning 60 in just a few days. Happy birthday! Thank you. And we started using Technotutor about a year ago with Aria and myself, and then slowly we've been integrating with her. And then this summer we had, because Taylor she goes to school in Broward County, which is about 2 hours south. So because of that, our ability to spend full weeks with her is a lot less than, we would have her constantly as Aria. And this summer she came and stayed with us. So then I was like, hey, how about, you start using Technotutor? And she was like, whatever. And then after a couple of weeks, she started seeing results and started seeing it. And I think for the past year, I've been posting videos for Aria, and most people can say, oh, well, kids learn fast and stuff, but to be able to see someone that's a lot older and being able to speak of their what they've seen and what changes they've seen in their lives is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons. Well, the main reason why I'm recording this episode with you three. And Taylor, we're going to get to your story in a minute. I want to hear your side of everything. And what do we have over here?
A spider.
It's a spider? I thought I was looking in a mirror.
You're not.
You? Does it have a name?
No, my name is Spidery.
Spidery. See, I'm afraid of spiders. I have what's called arachnophobia. Does it? Like, I'm a big guy, and if I see a little teeny tiny spider, I tend to run the other way. But I'm working on that. I'm gonna fix myself, right?
Yeah.
What should he use if he has a fear of spiders? What can he use to overcome those fears?
He can use a napkin, just like something, or like something else. It's like a tool.
Yeah, he could.
Good answer. Very good answer. So, Melissa, I want to ask you now, like, why did you begin using Technotutor? I like origin stories. So tell me a little bit about yours. Like, why did you start using it?
So my background is that my whole life I always wanted to work with children. Has always been my life passion since I was very, very young. And I tried it all. I tried going into psychology. I tried healing. I tried it all. And although all these points, not to discredit them, had really good things that they could do, they were very limited to how much they could support a child. And then finally, I understood that unless both parent and child are working through the process of change as the parent, and then therefore supporting the child, then nothing's really going to be effective, and nothing's going to really be best. So during COVID, I decided to reach out through the whole country, and even I went down to South America and reached out to people that were doing different out of the box things to support children. And I actually opened a parenting group and would do weekly calls with these people to see what they were bringing to the table. And some of them, I mean, amazing. And Drake happened to be one of them. So I interviewed him for Technotutor. And because of my background and how I understood how children work, especially 1 to 7, I was like, holy cow, like this is it, you know? So I was like, if I can do that, if I can myself apply it and see if it's awesome, then this is it, right? And I think it took me about a year, and it was mostly out of my walking my own fears. Like, is this really, in my own head? And it ended up being my biggest regret, because I think about it now, like if I would have gotten Technotutor when she was younger, she would be so much more advanced today than where she's at, right? So I ended up getting Technotutor, and within a couple months, I started seeing all of these changes within her. And it was just so mind-blowing to see how quickly a child could change. And then I saw myself changing, and then realized that most of the things that she was walking was because I had them in me, and she was just picking it up for me. And that was just like the key, oh man, I had been walking years trying to figure out how can people better support their children. And here's this one thing that could just do it.
And it's not complicated to understand, where we come from. And I'm like you, being that typical guy, like, I don't need it, I'm all good. And I saw Leah, when she started using it, she was making the changes. And then when the kids start using it, I was seeing changes in them as well. And then I'm like, okay, there's got to be something to this. I started using it myself, and lo and behold, I started investigating things as to, why I am the way I am today. And when you're honest with yourself and open, amazing the things that can come into your head. So I'm with you on that, and I think there's a lot of other moms, dads that are feeling the exact same way. So now I want to talk to Aria a little bit here. Surprise. How much do you like using Technotutor, Aria?
100.
100. Is it really hard, or is it really, really easy?
It's really easy.
Yeah. What do you like about it?
I'm just you want to tell me?
What? You like it? What do you like about it the most? You like it a lot? Yeah, I agree. She likes it a lot because it's changing her. How do you think it's changing? In what way?
Getting smaller.
Yeah. Do you want to tell that story? No. She taught a girl. We went away to Tampa, and we were at the pool, and there was another four-year-old girl, and her mom, she was afraid for her to go into the middle of the pool, because her daughter knew how to go underwater, but because she couldn't hold her breath so much, she would like come up and then reach for the what is that called?
The edge.
Yeah, the edge.
Yep.
So the mom asked Aria, hey, can you teach my daughter how to swim? And Aria was like, sure. And then she started teaching the little girl how to float. And then she taught her how to swim with her head above water. And she kept saying, good job, you're doing a great job. And she would like clap for her. It was so amazing to watch.
Awesome. I love hearing those kind of stories. Now,
yeah.
Aria, do you like horses?
Yeah.
I see some pictures on Facebook that you like riding horses. Mackenzie and Kiara, they love horses as well. I think the three of you, when we come down, we could all get together, and I think everybody can do a horse trail ride. What do you think about that? Nice. So, Melissa, what kind of changes have you seen in Aria when she started using it to today?
Oh my God, there's just so many to list. So we had, you do like playing. We had, and was the most important one for me that I saw. It was like, like one of those moments where moms like tear up because I saw she had this social anxiety. And what I mean by social anxiety, she would stand next to kids and want to say hi, and then she would just break down crying because the words wouldn't come out of her mouth. And she would just run to me in fear of, I can't talk to this child and just say, hey, hello, my name is Ari, I want to play with you, right?
Yeah.
And what I did is I integrated some words like friends and stuff with her. Thank you, Sue, it was very pretty. And then I worked it out within myself and found out where I had anxiety of talking to people and social anxiety and so forth. And within a day, I just saw her change. And I don't mean like, oh, you see her playing. I literally mean she went up to a kid the next day after crying the day before and saying, hi, my name is Aria, would you like to play with me? And then talking to adults, because she would not talk to an adult. I mean, she would literally just break down. She started talking to people, and now it's to the point where she cheers herself. The other day you went to Publix, she was at Publix, and this lady was talking to her, and she talked back, and she had a conversation. When she finished and we were walking away, she was like, I talked to that lady. She cheers herself up because now she has already walked through that, and she actually recognizes within herself that she changed that, which is even better, right? Some people, or even kids, they change, but they don't make the connection that they made that change, right?
Absolutely.
So between that, she had a fear of dark. She overcame that, just simply integrating the words. And what else? Oh my God, there's so much food. She used to have a fear, like she wouldn't eat any vegetables. She wouldn't eat anything other than those chicken tenders. And now she eats spinach soup, she eats broccoli, she eats cauliflower, she eats bananas. I mean, it's like really amazing to watch that grow.
Does she eat carrots though?
She hasn't tried them. She told me she was gonna try them, and then she's like, I'll try it tomorrow.
Reason I asked that question for everybody's out there listening and watching, Melissa recently posted a photo of Aria with a bunch of carrots in her hand, and I think reading some of the comments, Melissa, somebody was asking if has she tried them yet. So
Yeah.
did she try them, and what was the end result?
She did not try them. She told me, you know what, I'm gonna leave it. She washed them, and then she said, I'm gonna try it tomorrow. So what we decided to do now is we're gonna make carrot cake with them.
Ooh, nice. Nice way of integrating that in there. There, very good. Oh, you're gonna love carrots. My kids love carrots. Carrots and cucumbers. Love the vegetables. Okay, Taylor, your turn. So spotlight's on you now. Now, Melissa, she recently posted a video on YouTube that it's where you described your summer, okay, and how much you've grown. And some points that you touched on was depression, your confidence level, and how you began reading more. So I want to ask you about I'll ask about the depression point in a minute. But for now, can you share how you gained more confidence and how you increased your reading?
Well, in the beginning of the summer, like my confidence level in the beginning of the summer, I didn't like to go out with a bathing suit. I felt like everyone was looking at me and stuff like that. I felt like everyone was staring at me. And Melissa made lists for me on Technotutor, like different things about body image, body weight, and stuff like that. She just made different lists for me. And in the beginning, I was like, okay, like I'll just do this, whatever. We'll see what happens. And after maybe, I don't know, a few weeks, I realized I told Melissa we were in the car on the beach. We were coming home from the beach, and I was like, oh, I'm realizing that I don't really care what people think of me anymore. Because I used to have such a bad body image, and I thought that everyone was staring at me and stuff. And I started to just not care slowly. And it wasn't it was something that I just realized. Like, it wasn't something that I tried to put into my head to say, okay, you can't be you can't have a bad self-image and stuff. It just I started realizing it. So that's the whole self-confidence thing. And Melissa was the one that made the list for me. So it was body image, body weight, weight, and what I would do is I would put body weight, and then I would look at the definition. I would flash it and I would look at the definition and read the definition. So it was in my head that body weight is not a bad thing. It's just the way, it's how much you weigh. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. So that's the self-confidence thing. And then reading, I don't know. It's just I read this book by Colleen Hoover. I don't know if you know who she is. She's like a author. And I just read that book and I wanted to go to the bookstore. We drove 40 minutes to a bookstore because I just wanted to read so bad. And I've never been a person to like want to read. I mean, I'm a teenage girl. Like I don't like, you know, but I just started wanting to read. I felt like reading was like watching TV. But I had like, it was to a point where I wanted to read instead of watching TV. Because I like my imagination was so strong with the reading. So yeah, that's how I started wanting to.
You read a 400-page book in 2 days. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
That's damn impressive.
Yeah. The whole day I was just sitting on the couch reading. I didn't watch any TV. My screen time on my phone has gone down way less since I started reading. It used to be like 10, 11 hours. Now it's like 5 or 6 hours because I started reading.
Nice. So when you're reading now, do you find that you're processing the words that you're reading a lot faster?
Yes. Yes. When I used to when I was younger in like 3rd or 4th grade, I used to be really bad at reading comprehension. Like I would always get bad grades in reading. I would have like really bad reading comprehension problems. I would have to read over pages of books for me to understand, and I don't have to do that anymore. I can read through a page and understand it one time without having to read it over and over again.
Nice. So now the depression point. Depression, it's a huge topic of concern amongst today's youth, especially now more than ever with everything that's been going on around the world. What was your headspace like before you began using Technotutor? So like the reason I'm asking that is like, so when Melissa approached you about using Technotutor, like what was your thought?
When she first approached me with it, I was like, okay, like I'll do it. But I didn't have a lot of motivation at all. I didn't have a lot of motivation. I feel like Technotutor has helped me with motivation a lot. So I was just like, okay, I'll do it just because she's telling me to do it. I love her. She's my stepmom, so I'll do it. But then I started realizing real changes.
When did you start realizing the changes? When you start noticing?
Maybe like a month into doing it. I didn't realize changes, but I started saying things to Melissa. I was like, oh, I feel so much happier. Oh, I realized negative people around me. I realized who I shouldn't be friends with. And I thought about it and I was like, wow, this is Technotutor doing this to me. And I realized that, wow, like it actually is working and it's not just a thing on the computer.
Yeah. Melissa, what was your thought process? Like when you saw her changing, how did that make you feel?
Oh, that was awesome. I think that both of us have gained so much from this because I don't know if we have time. I can share a quick story.
You got lots of time. No worries. No time crunch here.
So at the beginning of the summer, like we knew she was coming, and we have a women's group within the Self-Reflected, and we were sharing like some of the fears that we have been facing. And one of them, so previously I was in a previous marriage and I had a stepdaughter who's her same age, like she knows her.
Mm-hmm.
And I raised her from when she was 2 years old up until she was about 7, I believe. And she called me mom and I was her mother. And then she was, obviously after I separated, she was no longer in my life. And that was really difficult for me to process. And I thought through, healing and, mantras and all this stuff, I had already gotten over it. So before she came, I realized that even though I've known her for 6 years, I hadn't really taken responsibility over making sure that I had done everything in my power to support her wherever she needed. And I knew that she was walking this. So I had to then investigate within me why it is that I haven't taken that responsibility. And I realized that I never really let go of the trauma of my previous stepdaughter, and therefore I had this fear that if I supported her and I gave her all of this, then she was either going to be like taken away. She's not, but she was going to be either taken away from me, or she like the same trauma of not having this child, and after I walked that then I started coming up with all these ideas. And I remember talking to my husband, like, oh my God, we're going to support her this way. We're going to support her this way. We're going to do this. And he was like, wow, He was like, slow your roll. But the craziest thing is that through supporting her and seeing her change, like 2 weeks ago, when I went to pick you up and I told her I hadn't talked to my other stepdaughter in years.
Mhm.
And the other day she reached out to me and it was like the happiest day of my life. So by healing or, walking that process within myself, supporting her, walking through my own things, we both won because she was able to overcome her stuff and then I was able to overcome mine. So it was a mutual support to one another.
It's amazing to hear these kind of stories because you see the trickle down effect. How like we thought in the Technotutor group, we talk about how we transfer things over to our children because of how we were programmed growing up. And if it was, a rough youth, you're going to transfer that to our children, and we have to stop that cycle. Kind of like a time loop, so to speak. You keep getting what you're getting, you don't realize it because you're doing things on an unconscious level. You're just doing it because it's there. You're not realizing you're doing it, right? So when you make these changes and address them, the world's our oyster. It's awesome to see the changes within yourself and within others. So Taylor, if you could talk to all the teens out there now, well, your age, you say you're 15, and by the time this is going to be posted, you'll be 16, correct? Okay. What's the first step, in your words, what is the first step that kids your age should take in order to better their lives?
One word is realization. You need to put yourself into reality. When you're depressed, you feel like you're in this bubble and you can't get out of it, but you have to realize that you think it's the end of the world, but it's really not. And it's really hard when you're depressed to think that you think that everything is so terrible and it's not going to end, whatever. But realization is like, you realize the negative people around you, you realize the negative things around you, things make you depressed. Something is going to happen to you that makes you depressed. I mean, depression is also genetics, but a lot of teenagers, it's the things around us since COVID and all the negative relationships, like friendships and stuff. So yeah.
It's great to hear your story, and I think it's just great for everybody to hear your story. Leah, she's gone through depression at a young age, and she wonders what her life would have been like if she had Technotutor available to her at that point, how she could have changed things, and I know Leah is going to want to talk to you, Melissa, about this, just one-on-one offline, so it'd be great that you two can connect. So Taylor, how often are you pushing your friends over to Melissa to talk about TT?
I mean, I haven't really done that yet, but I also, since the whole Technotutor thing, I stopped being friends with a lot of people that I realized that were negative to me.
Really?
And not friends to me. So that's one thing, but I haven't really done that.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing to actually, I don't want to say get rid of the toxic people. You want to surround yourself with people who are going to support you and lift you up. And you came to the realization that some of them were not doing that. They're probably more suppressing you, right?
Yes.
To keep you from elevating to that next level. So what grade are you in right now, Taylor?
I'm going into 11th grade. I'm going into junior year.
Okay. So how would you describe what you're being taught in school on a daily basis? Do you feel that it's meant to help you succeed in the future?
I think that what I'm being taught in school is just I'm learning something in a lesson, and I'm only learning it for the test. And the test, I take the test, and the test is benefiting the teachers. It's not things that I learned. I mean, I'm sure a little portion of what I learn, it's knowledge, but a lot of the portion of stuff that I learned at school is not benefiting me in any way. Like the whole math, geometry, all of that, I don't think it's going to really do anything for when I get older. A lot of things that I learned in school isn't benefiting me. I'm just sitting in a classroom for 8 hours people are telling me when to use the bathroom. People are telling me when to do this and that. It's not free. It's like a cage. School is like a cage to me.
Right.
Can
You
you,
feel like you're being stifled in class? Or you you can't think for yourself.
Yeah, I feel like there's that teacher that's sitting there and is gonna get mad at me if I do anything.
can you expand on how you say that the teachers are benefiting and not you?
So we take the FSA, Florida Standard Assessment, every year.
Okay.
And I feel like the teachers, I mean, this is something me and my friends talk about, and I've had teachers who have told me this before, that this, I mean, I don't know if it's a true fact, but the FSA it rates the teachers. So the students, if they get a bad grade on the FSA, then the teachers' ratings are lower. If the students get a good grade, then the teachers' ratings are higher. So the tests at the end of the year are not for us, it's for the teachers, so their job is better, their job is worse.
Do you see like a passion in some of the teachers throughout the school? Like they enjoy what they're doing, or are they just going through the rigmarole of, all right, I got to do this because the curriculum book says so?
I mean, I've had teachers that are passionate about teaching, but I've also had many teachers that you can tell they just don't like the job. I've had many teachers like that, but I have had a few teachers that actually enjoy the job.
Yeah,
Like
so-
I'm in an early childhood program at my school. It's early childhood. It's like a preschool. I'm learning about like children and stuff. And I mean, that teacher, I can tell that she enjoys her job, but it's also like working with kids and stuff, which I think that Technotutor would be a great thing for that class because it's early childhood. We have a preschool in our school.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you on that one too. And a lot of it all starts in the home. You know, it starts with the
Yeah.
parents to wake up to understand, you know, what their kids are being taught or, you know, told to learn in school, right? So yeah, you got a good teacher to the I think to the left of you. I think I'm trying to get my bearings right here. So Melissa, keeping with the education theme here, what do you feel is the biggest issue with the education system today? I think we heard a lot from Taylor, and I think you're probably going to piggyback on what she said a little bit. But what's your take?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's teaching children something so that they pass a test. Do you know your ABCs? Can you follow orders? Can you be a great sheep when the real world comes out and tells you that you have to follow those orders so that that the people that are telling you what to do could stay in their jobs and then you just do what you're told. You
Yeah.
know, one of the biggest things, and I was talking to somebody about this is, and even her, that she just actually decided to, she realized through coming with all these thoughts that she's having that she has a spending problem. And she was telling me she want to create some lists on money and how to better use her money. And they're not teaching real values. They're not teaching the real things that they need in order to go ahead and live just a standard life, right? Where they're not in poverty, where they're not thinking how they're going to make the next paycheck. Okay, I tell them
What do we got? What do we got? What do we got?
tooth is wiggly.
What was
Her
that?
tooth-
I missed it.
Tooth is wiggly.
The truth is wiggly.
Tooth.
Oh, tooth. I heard truth. Okay. Tooth. Is that your first one? Ah, somebody's growing. Mackenzie, there was a span of about like 3 weeks where she lost like 4 teeth. She'd come to us say, another tooth is loose, another tooth is loose. And I'm beginning to wonder, like, how are you going to eat? Because you can't really bite because it's the front teeth, the bottom and the top, right? And just like you can just put a straw inside there and just, you know, feed her smoothies all day. But the adult teeth are starting to come through now, so it's you know, it's good to see. So Melissa, how important is it to a child's development that kids are best to be taught at home at a younger age, like at Aria's age?
1000%, even later. I mean, I wish I could keep her here. But it's important because there are things that happen so fast, especially when they're younger, that unless they're caught at that moment and then supported at that moment, they can slip by and you'll never know. And that happens when they go to daycare. It happens when they go to preschool. There's 30 kids in the class. Nobody's going to see your child get hit. Maybe they bumped. Maybe they were scared about this one little thing they were supposed to do. And there was no time to support them specifically on that point and help them get through it so that it doesn't become something that repeats itself over and over again and then becomes something bigger.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying, it starts with the parents, and Lee is exactly that thinking is the exact same, where she wants to be there to support the girls if something was to happen, so they can explain it to them, because in school, like they're not getting that. The average ratio from teacher to student is like 1 to 30 here in Canada. I don't know what it's like down in the United States. So that one-on-one time is maybe 5 minutes in a day, and you need longer than that, much longer than that. So we're seeing the benefits of homeschooling, Kiara and Mackenzie, and they're changing, and it's great to see that Aria is expanding as well. Now, there are a lot of parents who want to make that change from having their kids in school to homeschooling, but they're nervous about where to begin. Any tips, anything you can tell these parents, Melissa, like where they can begin?
Yes. So the number one thing is the overwhelming thought that is something that you won't be able to walk. It's like the most simplest thing, right? Because it's not the thought that it's overwhelming or it's impossible. It's the fact that we don't even believe that we can do it, right? Because at the beginning, I was in the same way, like, I can't teach her. I'm not a teacher. And then I realized I'm learning next to her anyway. Like, we're learning together. So it doesn't matter. And depends on the state that you are in or the country that you're in. But here in the US, the state that you're in, there's different groups that you can find. If you're on Facebook, you can go on Facebook. There's hundreds and hundreds of supportive groups for homeschooling, what to do, what laws to follow, what you have to file, where to file, if you want to go that route. There are states that you don't even have to file until a certain age. There's, so it's just a requirement, but there's so many supportive groups that if you just go to Facebook and just type homeschooling group, you'll find the help.
No, that's great. And I will put some of those links in the description below. And if anybody wants to reach out to Melissa and hear more about what she can offer, I'll have her description in below as well. And Taylor, I will have your contact information down below if there's anybody that wants to hear more about her story and how she's overcome her issues. You can learn a lot from that. Okay, one last question before we end off. I'd like to hear from each one of you. One last thing that you would like to say to the viewers and listeners out there. It is a very tumultuous world right now. A lot of people are living in fear, and there's also people who are starting to wake up, so to speak, and starting to think for themselves. Is there anything that you want to say to everybody?
You want to say one last thing to everybody? Something you recommend? No. Take that step, right? A lot of people I've heard, I don't understand. You're telling me all of these things. You're making these videos. I don't understand. Take that step. What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose and so much to gain. I mean, I can tell you that if I could record more and if I could make more videos, I would. Just to record everything that we go through. And it's all because I took that step. I made the decision to just go forward and try it out. And my only regret is to not have done it sooner.
Nice. Taylor, what about you?
My last thing that I have to say is that when you're depressed, you feel like you're in a hole, and as again, like the realization thing, because it's a big part of like my life. Like when you start realizing things and you start realizing everything, like it all becomes better. It's hard to explain, but Technotutor will help you with it. I just don't know how to explain it exactly.
Oh, well said. Aria, any last words?
No.
Nothing? What if I said chocolate ice cream is better than vanilla? Oh. What was that?
I like both.
You like both? Okay. Well, that didn't work out in my favor. It's all right. Let it go. Thank you all for joining me, and thank you for telling me your stories. You know, we are all dealing with things in our lives. We have dealt with things in our lives. We are hanging on to them, and that is shaping us to who we are today. And they're not necessarily the great things that we're hanging on to. You know, face them, you know, talk about them with somebody who will support you and lift you up. And you want to know more how we can help you, reach out to Melissa, reach out to myself, and we will, you know, plug you into the right areas, self-perfected in the Technotutor group and stuff like that, and start making changes. So yeah, that's it. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yes,
Go
Thank you.
enjoy the Florida sun. I will think about it from the confines of Canada. Still warm for now, so I'll take it.
yeah,
And
saying we're kind of done with it. It's just so
It's
hot.
so hot.
It's just too hot.
it's really hot up here today. It's really humid, but you know, being a Canadian, I gotta take it while I can, because in about a month and a half, it's gonna be gone. So, all right, enjoy your day. We will talk again soon. Everybody out there, tune in, subscribe, and see you online.
Thank
Peace.
you. Bye.